Good morning, Wabash. Today speaking, we have Dean Raiders. Dean Raiders is a member of the illustrious class of 1985. He earned his master's degree from Butler University. After spending 20 years of teaching and coaching at the high school level, he returned to Wabash in 2004 as the Associate Dean of Students, before being promoted to the Dean in 2008. He is the reigning holder of the Indiana Collegiate Action Network's Dean Richard McKaig Award for Exemplary Leadership in Addressing High-Risk Drinking. Dean Raiders is an especially proud husband and father of 3 children. Here to give his talk titled Cultures and Traditions, Dean Raiders.
Good morning, Wabash. Thank you, Hezekiah, Nathan, and the members of the Sphinx Club for the opportunity to speak today. It is always an honor and a valued opportunity. That said, the road to the podium this year has been a unique one in my personal history of chapel talks. For my first one in 2004, when I was a newly hired associate dean, I was asked prior to the beginning of the school year and was the leadoff speaker to that semester. In most years, I have my date cemented for weeks ahead of time, and in one, I was set for September, got bumped due to travel plans of President White, got bumped again due to travel plans for Professor Cook, and finally got to deliver an address in late November. So then there's today, when unlike that first year when I was the starter, the leadoff man, I come to you today as a veteran pinch hitter, subbing in due to an unavoidable hole in the schedule. I was asked, and after some "isn't there someone else available" pushback, agreed late last week. Now, like I said, regardless of when the opportunity is afforded, it is indeed a pleasure and an honor, seriously. But that doesn't make the task of providing meaningful, awe-inspiring remarks any easier. Usually when I get the offer, I begin looking for a topic in my daily work, thinking of a good issue to address, a catchy title, a theme for the semester or year, a powerful message for our students and community. When I agreed to Nathan's offer, though, I had nothing, bupkis, an overwhelming emptiness of ideas. Then it dawned on me that I am officially to the point where I've given more chapel talks that our current students haven't heard than those you have. So I decided I'd dust off an oldie but a goodie, change some names to current students, and be golden. That was especially important and comforting as I left campus for 4 days of meetings with fellow American colleges of the Midwest and GLCA deans. Near the snow-covered Indiana state line Saturday morning on my way to Columbus, Ohio, the words of my children began whispering into my ear. "That'd be lame, Dad. Haven't you heard of YouTube, old man? They can watch any talk you've ever given before and then bust you for your laziness." I had to be original, but I also didn't have the time to be fully original due to my meetings and the mountain of email I knew I'd return to go completely from scratch. Maybe I could piecemeal elements of previous talks into one coherent one. I asked rhetorically to those kids in my ear, a little cutting and pasting of old to create new. Certainly that would, at minimum, allow me to bond with this generation of paper writing students. I still needed a topic and listened intently to my ACM GLCA colleagues' discussions for a good current issue that would resonate with this esteemed audience. But by late Monday morning, I still had nothing. So before panic began to set in, I literally prayed for guidance. I returned to my room from my last morning session and went to another higher source for help, Twitter. There was a lot of chatter about the IU basketball program and the accident Saturday that had seriously injured sophomore player Devin Davis. One of my favorite former student leaders here, class of 13's Alex Robbins, tweeted that Dan Dockich, IU basketball alum, former coach, and current ESPN broadcaster and sports radio host, and like me, a college graduate in 1985, was in rare form on his radio show regarding the state of IU basketball. So I opened my 1070 The Fan app. Yes, I know what an app is and have several. and I listened. What I heard was a passionate stream of consciousness that frankly sounded like, yes, a chapel talk. So I started hurriedly writing down some of his points and those of the guests and callers who participated as well. The commentary sounded a lot like Wabash men discussing leadership. I knew I had my chapel talk theme when the following three elements came together simultaneously, crystallizing for me and hopefully for you how the situation at IU this week is a microcosm for Wabash men to see the need at all times, on and off the campus, to lead effectively. And yes, most of my previous chapel talks have focused on that element of life at our college, so I could and will this morning draw on some quotes from some other talks to combine the past and present into one message. The first of these crystallizing elements was the incessant use of the two words forming the title of today's talk: culture and tradition. When Nathan sent out the announcement last night about this morning's talk, he made a slight and simple mistake by saying the title was Cultures and Traditions. Interestingly, cultures and traditions was to my generation of Wabash students what enduring questions is to yours. And while the lessons of that course certainly play a role in my appreciation for both the culture of an entity and the tradition valued therein, I heard culture and tradition Monday morning being used as badges of honor on the airwaves. Mr. Dockich's point, and that of most of those chiming in, was that the challenges faced by Indiana basketball today, those of alcohol and drug-related violations and suspensions, demonstrate a lack of education and leadership to establish and sustain the right culture, and what really had him and other IU Hoops alumni upset, an overwhelming lack of appreciation for the great tradition of IU basketball, one for which their younger players today seemingly have little respect. As Dockich and others asserted why this is such a big deal in Bloomington, I was struck by how similar the words they were using are to those you've heard from me and countless others in formal and informal conversations about our college and your call to leadership. Listen to the following, substitute Indiana basketball with Wabash College, and consider the times you've heard these things said about Wabash, ways the words hold true here, or those occasions when you've been challenged here to guide and lead our student-centered culture, to uphold our hallowed tradition of men's education. Dockich, to those who say, what's the big deal? Everybody makes mistakes. Boys will be boys and accidents happen. I say, not everybody gets to play Indiana basketball in front of a fan base that loves you. You have no idea, none, how many people you don't even know care about you, your opportunities, and the way they want you to model how to be successful and classy at all times, all because you represent Indiana basketball. Everybody in college drinks and acts like drunken college kids from time to time. Indiana basketball players are not supposed to be like everybody else. Indiana basketball players are supposed to be better than everybody else. This one's for you Sphinx Clubbers. You shouldn't just be handed candy-striped pants when you arrive in Bloomington. You've got to earn them. And you've got to earn them doing things the right way. Mike Tirico, Dockich's college basketball broadcast partner and Monday Night Football anchor, was interviewed on the show and asked, so when this stuff happens and problems seemingly run amok, how do you stop it? Both he and Dockich answered similarly. Dockich, leaders have got to lead. The upperclassmen who get it have got to teach it, and all that it is to those who clearly don't get it now. Tirico, when the best players are the best guys and they set the best example, you've got a fighting shot to clean up a mess. And when the best, quote, leaders are the worst examples, you're in trouble. Dockich again, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything. You can make no concessions on character, none in recruitment. You've got to recruit good character to have a program of good character. Do you hear Wabash culture and our tradition of excellence in that discussion? I sure do, and yes, have commented accordingly in previous chapel talks. Hear these words from 2007 and how they are eerily similar to today. First, a word to our seniors. I talked in 2004 about building a greater Wabash foundation of unity and success. Our record enrollment illustrates you've helped to do that. Congratulations and thank you. Can we do better? Of course, and we try to get better every day because you either get better or you get worse. Nothing stays the same. From 2008, the nature of our gentleman's rule is one that assumes two fundamentals. One, you have an inherent understanding of what is and is not good, gentlemanly behavior and responsible citizenry. And two, that you value and respect the rule enough to hold each other accountable. From my 07 talk, we have a much more difficult challenge, and I believe a critical responsibility here than at other places to act accordingly. When you act, you will be acting whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, and whether fair or not, on behalf of all of us. You represent yourself, your family, your living unit, especially if you are wearing fraternity letters, your team or organization, your class, and of course our college with everything you do. The gentleman's rule works best, or perhaps only, when students hold each other accountable. I know you get upset when improperly thrown into the same category as one or several who break the gentleman's rule. Guide each other to do well. Doing so is an empowering and rewarding phenomenon which puts the college in a great light. What's best about our college is that the overwhelming majority of you do that. You value your freedoms, you embrace your responsibilities, you guide yourself and peers, and you make us all look good in the process. Listen to how recent IU basketball alumni, who like your predecessors after our struggles here several years ago, worked hard to rebuild an image and culture. How they took to Twitter to express their disdain that current players don't get it, are not holding each other accountable, making all, present and past, of IU's basketball culture and storied tradition not look good, but look bad. Academic All-American Jordan Hulls. The culture was built on hard work, accountability, and understanding what it means to wear Indiana on the front of your jersey. Victor Oladipo of the Orlando Magic. The players currently there just need to get their priorities right and realize they are playing for something way bigger than themselves. Derek Elston. Just wish these guys understood what it actually took to get the IU basketball name back where it was supposed to be. Cody Zeller of the Charlotte Hornets. As an IU basketball player, you are simply held to a higher standard. And my favorite, due to the Wabash always fights like tone, comes from Verdell Jones. I hate waking up hearing more negative news with IU. Guys before you didn't fight and rebuild just to see it go back down. IU's long history of success, its culture of putting hard-nosed, successful, high-character players on the floor, which build a tradition of excellence treasured by its alumni and fans, and entrusted to today's team, is under attack currently, much like ours was a few years ago. And the call from past leaders is to turn it up, as Coach Morgan guided you to do earlier this year, to lead effectively, as our mission statement states, and to be constantly aware of the responsibility you hold to respect and honor those who have come before you, as I stated in my 2007 chapel talk, and countless times before and after. Now, before I go any further, allow me to emphasize that I am not saying we are not doing this. To the contrary, we are having a great year, due in large part to the guidance of upper-class leaders who get it, who are guiding our newest Wabash men to do the same. That has been manifest in many groups I want to take a moment to honor this morning. If you are a member of the record-setting Wabash soccer team, the first to qualify for the NCAC postseason tournament, please stand and be recognized by your peers. Gentlemen, you have modeled strong character and work ethic, passion for your program, your sport, your college, and each other. And as I told you the other night, that has been both noticed and appreciated. If you are a member of the basketball or football teams, which attended soccer games this year in lieu of at least a portion of your own practice, demonstrating true Wabash spirit and support for fellow Wabash men, please stand. These guys have very important games, the most important games of their seasons coming up. Men, we've got your backs and we'll be there to support your efforts as you have supported others. Any swimmers here this morning? On Friday night, these guys knocked off 7th-ranked DePaul for the first time in a long time. It was fun watching you have fun and stay classy and enthusiastic throughout your big win. How about our conference champion cross-country team? Congratulations on both your championship and for finally thawing out from freezing on Saturday while you ran in tank top and shorts. A truly dominant performance last Saturday, with other important meets also on their horizon. Will actors and support crew for this week's Guys and Dolls performances please stand? Two quick comments regarding the Guys and Dolls performances. One, I don't remember the last time there was scalping of theater performance tickets taking place on campus. But Friday's sellout has made that a necessity. And in fact, if you have 3 or 4 to give or even sell, please see me afterwards and let's negotiate. Seriously. I have overpromised and underdelivered so far. Number 2, I'm always nervous when high school girls are on our campus. But when they are referred to as dolls, and one of them is the daughter of a senior staff colleague, my blood pressure goes off the charts. All of those groups and countless others have increased the positive spirit and unity on our campus this fall. This includes the Sphinx Club and the Friday night campus unity tours. On behalf of my fellow alumni, our staff and faculty, and my family, thank you for modeling what it really means to be a Wabash man, to positively shape our culture and build upon our tradition of excellence. I promise that first element is much longer than the second and third, so stick with me. The second element of crystallization of the IU story, being a Wabash one, is when Dan Dockich said, "My brother, who is the smartest guy I know, said it best when he said, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything." That brother is Tom Dockich. Wabash Phi Psi. You guys could be in the play. You picked up on that cue real well. And a senior when I was a freshman here. While not surprised a Wabash man would say it best, let alone be the smartest guy Dan would know, I wondered why exactly Tom understood and articulated the situation better than the IU alums themselves. So being the Wabash history major that I am, I sought out the primary source. I called him. Here's what Tom Dakich told me. When I got to Wabash, I was loud and extremely confident in my abilities. What I learned there was humility, that there are a lot smarter people than me. I learned to keep my head down, shut up, and do my work. I thought I worked hard, but I learned from peers like Joe Fistovich and Dave Soper what hard work and dedication really is. And I especially learned that to win, to truly win in life, you've got to do it the right way. That excellence is habits, doing things right and responsibly over and over. My 2009 chapel talk echoes Tom's great points that practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. Another primary source on the matters at IU is our very own Casey Hockersmith, new administrative assistant in the Schrader Center for Career Development. Casey came to us, interestingly enough, after serving as an assistant in, the IU basketball office. Listen to how Casey gets it, and frankly is a great fit here at Wabash. Coach Crean treats the players like they are men, even when some are actually not prepared for what that means. While he indeed has high standards, he doesn't and actually can't micromanage the players. His system relies on recruiting players of character, and especially on veteran players realizing they have to lead, to stand up and take charge, to not wait until there is a crisis, but to be proactive and set the right tone. She's pleased some upperclassmen are at least now stepping into the void of leadership, but she's disappointed it's taken a week like this to get those guys to realize how critical it is to be proactive. I certainly hope you student leaders are more proactive, set the right tone, do things right, lead by positive example, and help to recruit men of strong character to our college, to your living units, your clubs, and your teams. The third element that came into play at the same time as the first two was a text from the aforementioned Alex Robbins, who said, "I've spent a lot of time listening to this today, thinking about how Wabash men get what Dakich is saying. Our students wouldn't let this kind of culture exist on their team or in their living unit. And if they did, you and Coach Hacklin or Mr. Woods and Dean Welch wouldn't let it. And if you did allow it, the alumni wouldn't let you." Alex has some serious credibility to make that statement. He was a student body president in 2012 when a group of our students vandalized a Paws campus Monon Bell Week. Suffice to say, gentlemen, that is not a good idea. It is unbecoming of a Wabash man, and it cast us in a negative light, that negative light referred to earlier. As the elected leader of our students, Alex was angry to say the least. When the students responsible were caught and set for discipline, Alex and other students asked me to allow them to have a teachable moment with their peers. I'm here to tell you, I can breathe fire with the best of them, and I certainly don't need any help holding our men accountable and doling out discipline. But the session I monitored between our student leaders and the perpetrators of that embarrassing act was some of the best education I've ever seen. Seriously. All of the points made today regarding accountability, respecting tradition, representing all of us, shaping a positive culture, the list goes on and on. All of those were made by the student leaders in that room. I talk about balance all the time here, and the balance in that room that day between disappointment in one group and pride in another group of leader educators was near perfect. And the education that was had was certainly impactful for all in the room. As we approach both Whit Weekend, with many of you heading east to cheer on our football team, and Bell Week, with all of you engaged in the unifying spirit of that week, let us all seek to find good balance and be proactive in leading and modeling the highest imaginations of ourselves and our college. The radio conversation ended Monday with Tirico and Dakich discussing, If IU was a #1 seed every year, there wouldn't be this kind of attention on the problems. While winning can indeed cure most ills, the broadcasters missed a key point that, in my opinion, we understand and have demonstrated here this semester. That success is far more likely to occur when you do the right things. It's not that bad things are ignored if one is successful. It's that one is bound to be more successful when he does the right things. Our soccer team has turned their program around by being better citizens on and off the pitch, and our competitive record reflects that. Our cross-country and swim teams perform exceptionally well in the classroom, in the greater college community, and accordingly in their meets. And our football team, and in fact this entire community, has realized that Bell Week and all of its festivities is about us, the best parts of us and our community, our way of doing things, our way of playing football. Since we've gotten away from it being centered on dissing our rival, shouting their name versus our own, waving singular digits at them, versus the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we've won the bell in a row. Since we've made it a celebration of ourselves, we've had a heck of a lot of success and a whole lot of fun. Next week will mark the 5th anniversary of my favorite moment ever as a Wabash man. Hearing our student body, which had been through some unbelievably tough times, chanting "I love Wabash" at the top of their lungs at the end of the first of at least 5 consecutive successful Monon Bell games. I've heard the cheer often at other games, Bell and otherwise, ever since. Gentlemen, I love, admire, appreciate, and share your passion for our alma mater. Please keep leading effectively, being proactive, and earning your stripes, literally and figuratively, by doing things right. Honor, respect, treasure, and safeguard our culture of care and our tradition of excellence. I am proud and honored beyond words to help lead you and our alma mater in those efforts. I look forward to hearing and sharing "I love Wabash" chants in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Wabash always fights. Thank you.
All right, Wabash. This next Tuesday, make sure to keep your eyes out for the Bleed for the Bell campaign from 10 to 4 in the Allen Center. This weekend, we still have some extra seats on the Wittenberg bus when football heads down there on Saturday, so make sure to check your emails and email Patrick Resnick if you'd like a seat. Guys and Dolls performance is every day this week. Friday and Saturday are sold out, but I'm not sure about tonight. Wrestling holds their dual meet here at Wabash on Friday night at 6:30, and football is again at Wittenberg at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Our number 6 Wabash College swimming and diving team will take on number 17 Rose Holman in Manchester at Rose Holman on 1 p.m. on Saturday. And this week, TGIF will be held in front of the Allen Center. Please rise and sing Old Wabash. From the hills of